Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I am your host, Zen Sams. Coming up in our Innovation and Tech segment brought to you by Caldwell Soames, we have returning contributor Paul Caldwell, Chairman and CEO of Caldwell Soames. And today we are chatting with Nathan McAlister, Managing Director of Community Business Development at Original Digital Corporation. Now, Nathaniel manages in-market community programs with local and state governments, as well as community and educational groups. His teams focus on building local level awareness of the value potential of the OG Pay and OG2D platforms to help people transform how they think about using their money and to increase overall consumer financial literacy, and that is extremely important. Now, as they get settled into the broadcast room, let's chat fintech's social impact online and in our community. Let's start with the basics. Financial technology is the technology and innovation that aims to compete with traditional financial methods in the delivery of financial services. Quite simple, it's an emerging industry that uses technology to improve activities in finance. Easy enough? Now let's think about the assumption that fintech or even blockchain will solve financial inclusion, and instead let's have a deeper conversation about what the current obstacles and accompanying solutions are to making that a reality. And welcoming to the show, we have Paul and Nathaniel. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Hello.
Thanks.
All right, Paul, let's start with you. Let's speak to the notion that fintech can address social issues while still making a profit and why that is so. Income inequality and financial inclusion are top global problems. Entrepreneurs can meld fintech and financial inclusion to create products that are low cost and scalable. Walk me through some of the innovative solutions you are seeing as an investor and entrepreneur in the space.
Hi, Zen. Yeah, really, generally speaking, it's a whole community based orientation when fintech can really bring value to communities and citizens in the communities. Those are the consumers of the world. Traditional banking has, in many ways, built a model around financial illiteracy. In fact, the models are simple. You make your deposit, you use your money, and the mindset is one of consumerism. Now, banking, of course, don't get me wrong, it plays a very important role in society, but from a financial literacy perspective, it's done very little to help people become included into the broader economy or even the global economy on a mass scale. So fintech helps to level that playing field a bit, in so much that people can engage with technologies that make it very simple for them to be included, to understand things like interest and compound interest, to not feel like they have to go use payday loan facilities or go get payday loans or check cashing facilities that charge large fees, and even paying for essential services in communities. Like water bills and things like that can be automated in a way that it can be done at the click of a button on a phone, saves the city tons of money and the consumer fees that they get charged if they pay at the grocery store. Simple things like that really have at scale have a big impact.
Interesting, because when you're talking about technologies and where we're headed in the digital transformation, when you think about blockchain technology and how that can even transform regular financial processes into entirely transparent procedures built on secure and efficient transactions, and when utilized correctly, blockchain can create a fintech ecosystem that can revolutionize, finance completely. Which brings me to welcome to the show, Nathaniel. I want to talk more about the notion. This truly does take me into the notion that more data can lead to better products. We have low-income populations which have generated years of qualitative and quantitative data on what works to help people achieve financial security. And those are key pieces of information. Now, this is the perfect time to tackle this issue as we have artificial intelligence making new sources of data more accessible and digestible, and partnerships between fintechs and even nonprofits fill in the gaps for a population that has not been accounted for by financial institutions. Walk me through some of the real life problems these fintech solutions are addressing and how they may be paving the way and the pathway out of poverty.
Well, first and foremost is it's allowing people to have better control of their money. Just imagine with OG Pay, a person doesn't have to worry about paying to have banking. They can actually be rewarded every month, with monthly interest. And depending on how much you have in there, that could be a big difference between affording, a latte or a burger, or just being able to do something real simple for yourself. Because what we've seen so far is everything's just been so predatory. So with fintech, it's allowing people to be able to have, the power right in their hands. I don't have to call anybody. I don't have to text anybody. I can just open up an app and I can see my money, and I can decide on how I want to spend my money. And I don't have to worry about somebody just stealing my money just because they want to.
Exactly. That's a great point. And, OG Pay solves a lot of those real world issues. Now, Paul, interestingly enough, and we'll talk a bit more about OG Pay in just a minute, but when we look at the trends of digitization and modernization and consolidation, there's 5 companies really: Bill.com, Block, Flywire, Shopify, and Trust. And what they're doing right now is they're thinking really critically about the businesses that they're serving. And they're realizing that as they're digitizing and as they're helping to modernize them, one of the biggest things that they can do that really adds value right here is to help consolidate vendor relationships. And what that means is providing not only payments and not only software, but also value added services. Talk to me about the existing gaps in the fintech market and how we should be looking to address them, and how OG Pay is solving this.
One of the things is on the merchant services layer of the transactions themselves. I mean, I'm not going to go into a lot of the technical aspects of that right now. We don't have time, but just suffice to say that at that layer, there is a lot of innovation that's occurred. Things like Clover POS devices fully integrated on the front and the back ends onto the web experience, the internet experience, the online experience, or in the phone apps. These sorts of things that are going on Square, doing similar things in that space. But there are significant gaps that can be filled when it comes to how those transactions actually get facilitated when we start talking about digital assets or digital currencies tied to original type place-based transactions in stores, in a shop, in a fitness center, or whatever. And someone wants to engage in digital currency transactions. It's a much more complex situation because somebody has to take spread risk. These are very volatile currencies. Bitcoin could be at 40,000 one day, 30,000 another day. And what happens if you want to return your sneakers 2 days later and it just went down to 30 from 40,000? What happens? Who takes that spread risk? So there's a whole lot going on in the conversations that really will enable, I think, result in, and is resulting in, enabling consumers to use their money in unique ways. You ask about OG Pay. Someone can simply, you don't have to do the transaction in crypto, but you can instantly settle crypto onto your Visa card with OG Pay and instantly pay for those things, keeping it in the traditional fiat realm as far as a transaction. So established infrastructure can already come into play, and we don't have these spread risk problems. If a merchant accepts the Visa card, OG Pay can be the solution for the consumer, and no one has to be concerned about losing value in a transaction just because they transacted, for example, originated a transaction through a crypto sale.
Right, exactly. And that's a good point, because at some point somebody is going to be the hand raiser and say, hey, listen, you know, where's the spread here? But with OG Pay, you guys are solving that preemptively. Which, Nathaniel, let's go back to the community and strategic partnerships that OG Pay has, and let's really walk me through community and strategic relationships and partnerships that can help the underserved. In fact, to reach people who aren't part of financial institutions, it actually takes a village. We have to think about where the consumer has trust. It may be the corner store down the street that they're using to access financial services, even if it's predatory, like you said. But with the technology we have now, like OG Pay, we can bring services to where the trust secured is in a responsible manner. So let's chat ogpay.com and talk to me about why this is truly money management transformed, and why does this matter?
Well, it matters because right now in the actual community, we're going to city leaders like we did in Jackson, like we're doing in New Orleans, and we're setting up basic financial literacy for the people, for the residents, so they can just basically understand how money works. Then at the same time we're able to offer them an app which they can do all of their banking. It is actually an FDIC, back bank account, so their money is safe. Some of the other programs that we're doing also is like with Tech Jackson right now, and with the city of New Orleans is that we're doing NFT programs, and then we're selling NFTs, and we're using the proceeds from that to be able to service various needs that the city have. In New Orleans, we're doing the art park, and right now we're identifying what we're going to do in Jackson. And we look to take this program from community to community across this country, and show the people how we can help them with their finances. And overall, we know that when people's money gets better, they start to act better. We start having a better society. So for us, this is going to be a ripple effect to not only to help people, but also to start making changes in society that we need to have at this time.
I love it, because you basically devised a system through OG Pay that is high value, secure, cost efficient. It's really a new way for people to use their money around town and really around the world. And they can even send and receive money globally for free. It sounds like they could pay for goods and services, whether in person or online, pay bills, buy and sell their digital currencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, just like Paul just said. And also there's an interesting layer there. The multilingual, multi-currency platform kind of has you up and running in just minutes, and it's really kind of, excuse my French, but idiot proof. And that's what we love. It's true, it's the truth. And I love the system. We have about 2 minutes left, and I want to hear a little bit more from Paul. Paul, there was an important chat we were having earlier about fintech's social impact online and where you think we are heading in the space. Enlighten us. You have about a minute.
I think that fintech overall has an opportunity to, or will have, in effect, a social impact, a social effect that hasn't been experienced before. And I think it starts, as Nathan said, with literacy, financial literacy. That's a big part of it. And the other thing is, once the integration points start to exist between consumers and creators or merchants in a community, the burger shop, the barber shop, the dry cleaning facility, and they have, in the OG Pay world, for example, they have OG Pay merchant services wallets. Someone can simply go with a QR code and pay wallet to wallet. That's cash to cash. There is no 3% that the merchant has to pay to a merchant services provider. There is no additional cost to the consumer for the transaction. So it really starts to create a much more frictionless environment when it comes to payments. And this is beyond the traditional models of like a Venmo or a PayPal or these sorts of things. This is really something that is innovative, and that once people understand the transformative effect of it beyond disruption and innovation and all of those things, and it really transforms how they think about how they use their money, great things happen. And that's been the experience at this point for the OG Pay team. I know that one for sure. And I'm sure, more broadly speaking, in fintech, that will be the case.
Yes, for sure. Well, listen, very enlightening conversations I've had with the two of you. Thank you so much for joining us. We are sadly out of time, but you guys are incredible, and OG Pay is doing great things. Thank you, Nathaniel, and thank you, Paul, for joining us.
Pleasure.
All right, listen, guys, you definitely have to check out ogpay.com. Make sure you check out their website. They keep your cash safe and secure in an FDIC-insured, interest-bearing US dollar-dominated account, which makes the OGPay mobile wallet the real obvious choice for millions of consumers around the world. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this. That was our Innovation and Tech segment brought to us by Caldwell Soames. Well, that's a wrap, my dear friends. We are at the end of our date. Remember to join me right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. or go to 710WOR.iheart.com/A Moment of Zen. Remember, we're now on TV. Download the KP Media TV app on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, or Android TV, or tune in at watch.kpmedia.tv and catch A Moment of Zen on the Impact Live channel Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern. All episodes are now available on demand. Thank you for listening to A Moment of Zen. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. Thanks again to all of our sponsors that make this all possible. Remember, happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it.